Hi, I'm Heather from Heather Handmade, and today I'm going to teach you how to add a ruffle to a dress to make it just a little bit longer. This is a knit dress and I added woven fabric at the bottom. I thought that the print would be really fun, and it's great for movement. It kind of flips out as you walk and you move. This is the dress I'm going to lengthen with the ruffle. I'm going to be adding a ruffle here at the hem. It's just a simple t-shirt dress, kind of a little more fitted shape. The best way to add fabric to a dress without making it look like you added fabric is to add the fabric in at least two different places. So I'm adding the ruffle here, and I'm going to add the ruffle also here at the sleeves. The dress is going to look a little more kind of like a modern 1920s dress, since it will have the look of a drop waist with the ruffle at the hem. This is the fabric I'm going to be using. I love that it's bright and abstract, and it has gray in it, so it will work with the t-shirt, but it will give this dress a nice pop at the sleeves and at the hem. This is a rayon challis fabric. It is very lightweight and fluid. You can see how it moves. I chose this because I think that the ruffles, they don't stick out as much, and they will fall and drape nicely in a fabric that is much softer. So you don't want a ruffle that, sticks out because the fabric is so stiff. You want it to kind of drape with a little bit of volume, and that's what a rayon challis will do for you. So the first thing you need to do is take a ruler and decide how long you want your ruffle to be. If you measure down at the hem, you measure at the sleeves. So let's say I want my sleeves, I want it to have a 4-inch ruffle. So I have my 4 inches, I double that for to have a fold at the hem, and then I add an inch of seam allowance, and that would give me 9 inches is the height of the fabric for my 4-inch tall ruffle. Fold your sleeve in half and measure it with your ruler. My sleeve is 6 inches on one side, so doubled is 12, and I want to do a 2-to-1 ratio for my ruffle, which means my sleeve ruffle is going to be 9 inches tall by 24 inches wide, and I will need 2 of those rectangles for 2 of the sleeves. I use that same method to find the length of the ruffle for the hem. I do recommend having your hem, the ruffle be taller than your sleeve, because it will give it a nice proportion, and it's pretty rare that you see the same height of ruffle in the sleeve and the hem. So I have my fabric laid out on a cutting mat, and for my hem, I want my rectangle is going to be 14 inches tall, and since I measured the width of the hem, and I'm going to need the whole width of the fabric for one side, so I have to cut 2 rectangles to get the width that I want so that I have enough ruffle. So I'm cutting this to 14 inches.
Now I am sewing the short ends of the rectangle together to make it into a tube. I am using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you don't have to worry about finishing the raw edges since they will be enclosed inside the ruffle.
So I have sewn this seam to make it into one big tube, and then I pressed these seams open. Now I'm folding it in half with the wrong side inside, and I'm going to press this fold at the bottom. You want a really crisp fold so it doesn't look like, like a bubble hem or a bubble dress that's really full at the bottom. And the great thing about rayon challis is that it presses really, really well.
Then I serged the raw edges so that they won't come undone, and then I am sewing 2 rows of basting stitches along the top edge of the tube. 2 rows of basting stitches is the best way to get a nice looking and even gather.
So I have the basting stitches on. There's 2 rows of basting stitches, and I did yellow for the back and white is on the front, and now I'm going to gather it to fit onto the hem of this dress. I'm going to match both of the seams. I have 2 seams, so I'm going to match up each seam with the side seam of the dress and then gather the rest on. So I have this all gathered, and I have pinned the side seams onto the side seams, and I wrapped the basting thread around the pin to keep it in place. But what I did, you can see here is the hem of the dress right here, and I matched up the serged edge of the ruffle with the top of the hem allowance, so that when I sew along the hem where the stitches are, I can catch this. And I have done my best to distribute the gathers evenly, and now I'm going to pin the ruffle onto the hem of the skirt right along this edge.
Now there's 2 rows of stitching from the cover stitched hem, and I am following the bottom row of stitches with matching thread, and I'm just sewing a straight stitch on right on the same line so that it's kind of an invisible stitch, but it will keep that ruffle in place and make it look really nice.
Now that you have sewn the ruffle onto the hem, you are now done with your dress. You can press it again. Just don't press out your ruffles, because it will lose the volume if you press those gathers into pleats. Thank you for watching my video, and I can't wait to see the dresses that you make.